Yes, thank you. Thank you for these nice words. And for me, it's not easy to make the presentation in English. So my last name is a little bit difficult, Modenbach, and but my English is a little bit weak, so we have a balance. Okay. Yeah. In the next 15 minutes, I'd like to show you some fundamental findings from an in-home video study based on biometric methods. And we think we have a good picture why advertising works differently on different platforms. But I'd like to start the presentation with a quote by Irvin Efron. Irvin Efron once gave a definition about or for the value of advertising or for media for the advertising. And he said, a medium's advertising value is the product of its probability of exposing the average ad and its contribution to the impact of the message, which basically means it's the reach of the medium. That is the probability of exposing the average ad times the impact of the ad. So both factors are crucial to evaluate the value of media for the advertising. And this is the reason reach is, of course, is the reason why we all are in critical discussions how to measure reach and how to measure cross-media reach and how to get a fair and reasonable solution for cross-media reach. But we are focused now on the question of the impact of the ads because, as Carl Nelson Field already said, not all reach is equal. Or in my words, the value of reach is moderated by the contribution to the impact of the carried ad. So this is the reason why we focused our latest researches to the impact of the ad, to the right side of this equation. And we saw it already in the last presentation and in particular in the work from Carl Nelson Field using short-term advertising strength, that TV and BWOT in particular are very successful when it comes to evaluation the impact of the ads. And these are the results of a very big study which we conducted in Germany together with YouTube and Google. And we compared different ad formats on different platforms in terms of different factors or KPIs of effectiveness. And in this case, this is unaided detail recall, and you can read it like this. This means 40% share of the individuals in the survey had correct details of relevant aspects of the advertising after one exposure with TV. And after 4 exposures with TV, this figure rises to 60% of all the suspects. And for broadcast VOD, we see very similar figures. After 1 exposure, 28% unaided detail recall, and after 4 exposures, 59%, which is interesting because to some extent, BWOT in mid-rolls and pre-rolls in BWOT is able to complement TV on a very same level of impact. But when it comes to the digital platforms, you can see this is YouTube TrueView clickable ads on YouTube and Facebook video ads, and even after 4 exposures, you're not getting the level of impact which come from just 1 exposure on TV. Very similar figures we see in all this kind of research, very similar figures. Ads on TV and BWOT delivers really good and strong impact. The question arises, why are TV and BWOT so much more effective? And to get a better understanding about these reasonings, we conducted this biometric in-home studio. And the first point is not all video is equal because it is really different how different media not only perceived but also recepted. In a lean back mode, in a lean back situation, the people are much less involved and much less engaged with the medium, but much more entertained. while in a lean forward situation, people have their devices in their hand. They are in a transactional modus, and they are much more active, involved in doing their perception of the media. So different platforms are consumed in different reception situations, and these situations have direct influence how advertising is perceived and processed. And as I said, to get a better understanding how advertising is perceived and processed, we conducted this in-home study. I think it's a unique research approach. We were in 100 homes with 100 test subjects. We measure in the homes of the participants, so in their familiar environment, on their own devices. We captured 90 minutes of media usage, 30 minutes for TV, 30 minutes for broadcast VOD, 50 minutes for YouTube, and 50 minutes for Facebook, so 90 minutes in total in each home. And we measured implicit KPIs, like the visual attention with via an eye tracking, but also the activation via skin conductance, and a little bit unusual, an emotional reaction via, which is called electromyography. So we place small sensors in the face of the subjects, and even very minimal contradiction of their reactions of the muscles in the face are used to measure emotional reactions. So these are the the implicit measures which we used, and we recorded 150 hours of media usage with these 100 test subjects in their own home, in their own environment, and on their own devices when they use these different media. And so let's start with the results. The first thing is, when it comes to visual focus on the screen, this means 67% of the time when editorial content were played on the TV, the visual focus was on the screen. So this means, yes, with TV there is some distraction, even when editorial content is played. The figure for broadcast VOD is 84%, with Facebook 73%, and a very high figure for YouTube of 94%. Much more visual focus on the content on YouTube than compared to TV. But when it comes to advertising, more visual attention is into the lean back situation. So you can read this 33% of the time when advertising was aired on TV, the visual focus was on the screens. And it was 12% with BWord, 6% with Facebook, and 5% with YouTube, mainly because people are scrolling or clicking away the ads rather than watching them. Okay, so this is more visual attention for advertising in a lean back mode compared to the lean forward mode. And when it comes to the activation, we see very similar levels of activation for editorial content and advertising on TV. The figures are low, which means the people are much more relaxed. There's not much activation which we can measure, but importantly, the level of activation compared to editorial content and advertising is on the same level. And in the lean forward environment, you can see a really high figures for activation for YouTube, but it fell completely off when advertising is aired. So, and this gives a huge gap, a huge gap between editorial content and advertising when it comes to activation on YouTube. So it's not automatically that the involvement for the content is transported to the ads. And if we make a breakthrough and watch and look at the different types of editorial content, and we have here 3 types. We distinguished here entertainment content, information content, and the period when people are selecting, searching for content, making a decision on what they want to watch on a lean-forward medium. You can see that the focus on content search explains the high level of activation on YouTube. And when it comes to information, perhaps tutorials on YouTube or something like this, you have still a high amount of activation, above average. And the more it comes to entertaining content, the more relaxed people are going, and the lower the level of activation. And very similar figures for broadcast VOD. Interesting is the 0.6 a number for entertainment on broadcast VOD is actually exactly the same as on TV, or the activation level on TV. So, and we see when we are looking on the emotional or the emotionality effect, we see very similar situation. There is a strong discrepancy between content and advertising in the lean-forward mode. So, what does this mean? And the key learnings very quickly. Advertising on TV is a part of the viewing experience. Advertising is embedded in the TV experience, and content advertising achieves similar levels of activation on emotions, and this facilitates ad effectiveness. In the lean-forward mode, users are less likely to pay attention to the ads and tend to avoid them actively. And the perception and processing of advertising, of course, are crucial for building mental availability for the brands. And this is, at the end, the reach coupled with the impact of the ads of TV and billboards makes it so strong for driving mental availability for brands. And this is, at the end of this short presentation, of perhaps a little bit of a preview to our latest research, where we analyzed the impact of TV and video content on building mental availability. I'm sure you know that mental availability is crucial for brands' grow, as Jenny Romanak here from the Ehrenberg Plus Institute always underlines. And the brand's growth mainly depends on building mental availability and physical availability. And Jenny said in one of her publications, brands even in complex, high involvement, intangible categories compete largely for mental and physical availability, and growth depends on building these 2 market-based assets at a faster rate than the competition. So mental availability is something which is impacted by the advertising. Advertising creates something in the minds of the people which is more than what we can measure in short-term, within short-term focus. In the past, we saw a lot of evaluation of advertising only measured with short-term KPIs, with modeling, sales modelings, or awareness modelings, where you only account very short-term effects. But advertising does more in the mind, is doing more in the minds of the people. Advertising is building and refreshing memory structuring and linking these memory structures with the brand. And we have very strong results that mental availability is a strong indicator for brand success. And this is one of the new results which we have. Advertising builds mental availability. We can make the case that advertising impacts mental availability directly. And here we have one KPI of the mental availability, the amount of the number of associations linked with a brand. And what you can see here is over 3 markets in Germany, the more different associations people are linking with a particular brand, the more likely the brand will be purchased. So the higher the probability of a purchase. So this is a very interesting finding, and And this is one of the important functions of advertising, besides the short-term effects of which we measure in sales models, creating something in the minds of the people. And the way to do this is building reach and using advertising formats which have which have a high impact and carry a high impact to the people. So this is just a very short overview to this presentation. So we are talking a lot of attention. Thanks for your attention. And if you are interested in more details about this study, we published the media equivalence study, which we did with Google together. The study, the in-home study, but more studies in this publication. And if you like, you'll find it free as a free download or under video-impact.de or by scanning this barcode. Thank you. Hope this was helpful.
Yes, thank you very much indeed. We do have time for one quick question. If anyone wants to ask Guido a question why we are here. You have answered. Oh, we have John Moldin. Yes, go for it, John. Video now.
John.
So, what is the psychology that determines why people are more willing to watch an ad when they're relaxed? Is it just because they can't be bothered to get off the sofa, or something a bit deeper than that?
Yeah, this is really the question behind these results. What are the motivations for the people using different platforms, and what are the intrinsic reasons why they are using such platforms? We made a deep psychological study as well, which is covered in this video impact study brochure. In a nutshell, I would say if you're let's say concrete, on YouTube, people are looking for, I would say, shortcuts, looking for getting very quick information, so very quick tutorial to learn something very quick, or to have to get quickly entertained. And so people are really, really involved in what they are watching and what they're seeing. And when advertising arises, this is it's not a shortcut. It's a detour. It's something which disrupts the motivations. And this, I think, is the main reason why everybody is waiting for the opportunity to click away the advertising when the small X arises. So if you are in a lean forward situation, you are. And advertising disturbs you. You have the mouse in your hand or the device in your hand, and you can click away the ads. And this is, in my opinion, the main reason why we see such different impact. So, importantly, what I like to underline is not all reach is equal, as Caroline Alson-Field said. And reach is moderated by the impact of these ads. And to understand it a bit more is to get a feeling how the different media how the reception of the different media actually is, and what the motivations actually are. John, is this okay? Yeah,
thank you. That was a great question and an even better answer. You can always tell it's a good question because the journalist is scribbling away, and I think John's pad nearly caught on fire there. So that is a good way to end that session. Once again, please give a reception for Guido.
Thank you.